This video is brought to you by the wonderful kawaii crew on my Patreon. Hey everyone, it's your kawaii boy Monty. Thank you once again for coming to be cute with me today. Before we get into this video, I want to paint a little bit of a picture for you, give you a little bit of story and insight about where I'm coming from. The year is 2019. A couple of years prior, I had taken a break from Lolita for reasons I'll have to talk about in a different whole video, and I decided 2019 was a good year to get back into the fashion. So I started doing so by consuming Lolita tubers again. I watched more Lolita videos to sort of catch up with the overall atmosphere of how things were going. Naturally, I was watching Lovely Lore videos, and what interested me the most were vlogs of conventions and Lolita events, so that I could get a basic idea of what brands had emerged ever since I left, what was going on, any new trends, all the cool items on the scene and all that. It was through these videos that I caught up with the current scope of the indie Lolita brand market, and was also when I found out about Lady Sloth. I think what caught people's attention first is, of course, their prints. They have quite a few iconic ones, namely My Spooky Macarons, along with other really cool and really vivid prints. They're a European brand, and I had just moved to Europe at this time. So of course, it's always nice to support other stores in the EU. It's great to support your local brands, and also no having to worry about customs. And not to mention their size range, which is fairly impressive compared to other brands. Naturally, for all these reasons, I was very attracted to them as a brand, and as soon as I got the opportunity, I made my first purchase directly from them. And I was happy with that first purchase, and I just wanted to buy more. So from that point on, I decided to call myself a self-labeled Lady Sloth brand whore. You know, sometimes, the you in the past just kind of makes mistakes. But the thing with really getting to know a brand, to really become obsessed with it and to buy from it over and over and over again, is that you start to learn the intricacies of it. You start to notice patterns happening in the products that you buy, and you start to notice also patterns in how they work as a store, as a brand, how they operate, their overall, vibe. And the rose-colored glasses start to come off. And really the goal that I'm setting out for this video is that I just kind of want to bring all factors into balance. I want to share with you not just my thoughts, but also the thoughts of many other Lady Sloth customers that I've spoken with about the overall take on Lady Sloth as a brand. All of the positives, all of the negatives, everything, so that all of you can make an informed decision about whether or not it's worth it to buy from Lady Sloth in the future. So here's my comprehensive review on Lady Sloth. So I want to make it clear that Lady Sloth does have positives. Like I do like it. I've spent hundreds of euros on them for a reason. I like prints. I just do. I get attracted to them like some shiny thing loving bird, And Lady Sloth's prints are all really lovely in my opinion. A lot of the colors in their prints are quite vibrant, which personally for me is really nice. If I could have it my way, I really would just like a postcard of every single Lady Sloth print ever, just to have, because I think all of their work, Antigi, by the way, I believe is how you pronounce the designer's name, all of Antigi's work for Lady Sloth is wonderful. Next is the sizing. It, of course, varies from release to release based on the construction of the dresses, but their smaller sizes start at around a 80 centimeter bust and a 60 centimeter waist, to a maximum of a 134 centimeter bust and a 122 centimeter waist. My measurements are 130 and around 115, so I fit pretty comfortably in Lady Sloth's largest size, the 4XL. And from what I've heard during reservation periods for MTO releases, they also take some slots for custom sizing. There are still brands out there that do even wider. As far as Western brands go, it's certainly no Dalby, and it's also not a Metamorphose. if you take into account their plus plus sizing. But it's pretty close, and I think that's kind of awesome. And the next thing that I personally really love about Lady Sloth pieces is that they are really comfortable. I think personally that is their big strength, is that they build a lot more for Lolita main pieces to be worn in a more casual way. They use really nice to the touch, soft materials that are comfortable to exist in. And like all the really good Western brands, they have pockets. Like really, really, really actually good pockets that you can fit your hands in really well. It's very easy for me to go grocery shopping in a Lady Sloth dress because I could just easily throw my phone, throw my keys, throw my wallet in there, generally all in one pocket. Like it fits really nicely. There has been a time where I've taken a nap wearing tea time at grandma's. And I think for me personally, that is a pretty good testament to how comfortable a Lolita piece is, where like you can sleep in it. This was reinforced as well in one of the reviews I collected from my friend Obscurus, where she says, "It's comfortable, fits well, is very roomy, and a good dress to wear on just about any occasion." And I think there's a lot of truth to that. I've already spoken on the comfort. It's very easy to wear in casual settings, and also just with how pliable and easy to work with the dresses generally are. I'd say they're fairly easy to dress down and dress up. So, that's another nice bonus to have when you're spending hundreds of euros on a piece. Those are the positives. Let's get to some things that I think Lady Sloth could really improve on. I want to state that I am making a video on this because I feel like it's something important for the Lolita community to know. We invest a lot of our time and our money into building our wardrobes, and it's really best to do that when you have as informed as a decision as possible. I am also speaking on this because, I love Lady Sloth. I love them a lot, and it's for that reason. I just want to be able to see them work at be the best brand that they can be. So everything I'm saying here are just the honest thoughts that I have and that other reviewers have, that this isn't some kind of attack or anything like that. These are just what we've experienced so that you can think about it. I'm going to start with something that's really subjective and is more of a on the fence thing, really dependent on maybe personal taste, so to speak. The main thing that I hear when people say that they hesitate from buying Lady Sloth or they're just not interested in it is because while the prints are quite good, the overall construction and design of the piece in the stock photos kind of turns them off in terms of you're spending hundreds of euros on a Lolita piece and you kind of expect a little bit more intrigue. Usually it's the bodices and things like lace trim that get the most contention. Like I said, more subjective, more up to you, to your personal tastes. I don't have a lot of expectations. I'm a simple man. So really, this is just more for you to think about if you are considering buying from them. Just think about your tastes and consider if Lady Sloth's designs are right for you. Now that the matter of taste and design is out of the way, I want to talk about some actual problems. As I mentioned, I have 4 Lady Sloth main pieces now. Buying 4 of them and wearing them and experiencing them for myself, I think the material they choose is quite good. So you have nothing to worry about with the materials. I think they're great. I think they're fairly solid. They stand up on their own. They wash well. But an issue that I've run into, and that a few other people have run into as well, is that the utilization of these materials when it comes to construction and putting things together leaves a bit to be desired. In my opinion, the main thing that they have problem with is the concept of structural integrity. I'm going to pull out some of the reviews that I got to sort of illustrate this. From Mysterious Little Creature, the big thing I noticed is that the waistbow is floppy, with the coffee bean charms weighing it down quite a bit. On the topic of waistbows, I can personally confirm this with my purchase of Paper Menagerie. I purchased Paper Menagerie, new from Lady Sloth, and when it arrived, still in the package, the waistbow was, in theory, it was attached. I'm going to illustrate a picture to show you here, but the waistbow was really not well secured. And apparently this had been the same case from people who bought the Halloween origami release that was of a similar cut and sort of motif. Some people had said their waist bows from Halloween origami just kind of fell off, like just walking. Speaking some more on Lady Sloth's lack of structural integrity, let's talk about their headpieces with this review from Anonymous. The Where's the Bat bow is made of their standard polyester, but it has no structural integrity and flops into your eyes. This review stood out to me because I actually own this bow. I personally think it's quite cute. I'm definitely more of a large head bow kind of guy, and it is large. Like it's large and in charge. But you know, it is what it is. So here's what it looks like. And here's what it looks like when I take out the pins, holding them together. These are my pins that I got myself that I put in because as is from the box, the head bow kind of does this, where it sort of gets into your eyes, and that's a problem. It's really not practical. It is indeed genuinely really floppy. Now, I had spoken earlier that personally, one of Lady Sloth's big pros is their sizing. And personally, I stand by that. But you know, who knows? Maybe I'm just the kind of body that Lady Sloth had in mind when making their pieces. These two other customers, however, had problems with the sizing. Here's this review from Kidomi. I purchased the Nen OP in 2015. Plus size, custom size, long sleeve. I only wore that dress once for Halloween and never again. It was a huge disappointment. The design of the dress itself did not have plus size people or anyone with a chest in mind. The bust fits awfully. The waist was way larger than the measurements provided. The cuffs on the wrist were very much larger than the measurements provided. The sleeves were much wider than the sizes provided. I messaged them about it, and the response in summary was, "You can pay to have it shipped back and we can do our best to alter it." That dress discouraged me from purchasing any other pieces from Lady Sloth. Now you might be thinking, this is a review from all the way back in 2015. They could have easily changed. But this anonymous reviewer also had problems with sizing when they purchased from Lady Sloth in recent years. The bat blouse is cut for a sharp hourglass. The waist is very small compared to the bust and is the only part that's shirred. The sleeve cuffs are unusually wide for the size I bought and compared to the rest of the blouse. The back collar manages to sit in a way that all points are visible from the side and the back, and it looks like a regular collar from the front. It's not flattering on me and I don't wear it. Now, of course, that isn't to say that a brand is going to get sizing ever perfectly. There's a bazillions types of bodies, and there's only so many dresses. But it is still something important to keep in mind in case you are a particular shape, or in case you are looking to get a custom size piece from Lady Sloth, which they still offer. Now, let's get into the heart of things. So far, Lady Sloth's weaknesses are with the matter of their design, which is, a matter of taste, and some issues with sizing. But the one thing that I and many other reviewers, and I'd say the majority of the community would say is Lady Sloth's biggest weakness that's just bringing them down entirely is their communication. When it comes to making hype posts on Instagram, I do think they're quite gifted with that, actually. There are some indie brands out there where I feel like they just don't give enough time to let their buyers get hyped about upcoming releases. Lady Sloth likes to show a lot of works in progress, a lot of, fabric shipments where they show releases to come, and I think it gets people really excited. Posting on Instagram is not a problem for them. Communicating with their customers, the way they do it is probably the biggest problem they have. Now, part of me wants to say they had a really rough 2022, but I don't want this video to be much really about speculation because I don't know. I don't know how Lady Sloth runs. I don't know entirely what goes on with them. I don't even know how many people work there or how many products on average, per year that they make. We don't really know about any of that. All I can say to you for sure is my experiences. My latest experience with Lady Sloth's communication had to do with the reservation of the Dark Dolimals Gallery release. It's actually the dress I'm wearing right now. I reserved this piece during the reservation period in March of 2022. And as per usual for Lady Sloth, their production time is around 3 months. So ideally, and as I've also experienced in the past, you should expect your order to be shipped out in around 3-ish or so months. This was not what ended up happening. Once those 3 months were up, I waited a little more and then started reaching out to them to sort of see, get updates. Their original message to me was to say that they were going to ship them out in June. They were in the middle of sewing them, and that they would be shipped out directly after that, like just a couple weeks after. So think late June, early July. No response, no update, no shipping email after that. And so I messaged them again. I did not receive any response. Later on, I messaged them again to get an update on how it was going. And it turns out that the order was going to be delayed because there was an issue with one of the colorways. They would later reveal in an Instagram post that there was a problem in particular with the navy colorway. I was personally getting worried because months and months had passed and I still didn't have my dress. And that the window for me to do a PayPal chargeback in the case that I just never would get it was approaching closer and closer, so I was getting really nervous. It wasn't until 3 months after the expected period had come, so in total a 6-month wait period, it was only then that my dress got shipped out. Now, in full fairness to Lady Sloth, I did check in with them sometime during August, and whoever was handling the DMs told me that things were taking some time, and that they were in the hospital, actually. And obviously, you can't do anything about that. You have to look out for your health. But speaking as someone who's disabled and has chronic pain, and I have customers of my own, I'm an illustrator, you have to communicate with people, especially, when their money is on the line, when hundreds, thousands of euros worth of money is on the line, you have to be upfront with them. Nobody wants to be in the dark over, what's going on with the thing that they purchased, that they invested their money in. And people are hesitant to invest in you when they're not sure if they can communicate clearly with you. This to me is a notable experience that happened to me personally, but out of all of the customers that I requested for reviews from, this was miles the most common thing that came up was the communication. From Anonymous. Communication was brief but never unfriendly. They changed my address immediately when I requested it. Unfortunately, there was some sort of error in their system and they sent me the order twice, once to the old address and once to my new one. I communicated with Lady Sloth via email, who paid the shipping to send it back. The package bounced back to me because Lady Sloth didn't accept it. I had to pay import taxes to get it again. When I emailed them again to see what was up, I got no further response. Another review from Alcina. My last purchase with Lady Sloth is the source of my one bad experience with them. I purchased their ready stock Very Berry OP, a head bow, and a pin that was part of a fundraiser. They emailed me a few weeks later to tell me that there had been a mistake in the listing and that they didn't have the head bow I had ordered. I responded to let them know which one I wanted instead, and I never heard back. I assumed my pin was what was holding the order up, but when they showed them on their Instagram and there was still no notification it had shipped after several more weeks, I messaged them to ask how long they thought my order would take. They responded that they had missed my email about the head bow and would ship it out in a week. A week came and went, and I heard nothing from them. I reached out again and they said that they had postponed it due to a change in the forms that they had to fill out and it would be shipped a week later. Another week came and went. I reached out again, then again, and was left on read both occasions. Eventually, I received a paid invoice on my email for the item with no context, and it was shipped a few days later. I did receive the item and it was lovely, but trying to reach out repeatedly only to be met with no response was frustrating. I understand that life happens and world events can throw a wrench into the works, but to receive little communication about what is going on is frustrating. Overall, I love Lady Sloth's products and I'm going to continue buying from them as a brand, but I would recommend more communication with their customers. And lastly, a strange situation that happened with Nil. I had to get a refund via PayPal on one of the in-stock ships in 10 days JSKs I ordered in April. There was a misunderstanding, I assume because English is Lady Sloth's second language, Attempts were made to correct things, but they weren't understanding what the issue was, which resulted in basically a JSK hostage situation. I tried to sort things out via email for like a month, and after an initial exchange, she became totally unresponsive. A bit sad about it, but life goes on. Overall, the current outlook with Lady Sloth is that they're a European indie brand that offers a large variety of sizing with comfortable dresses and really charming prints. But this, of course, comes at a price of potential oversights in design and construction, and definitely a huge weak spot when it comes to communication. I used to be able to call myself, with pride and unironically, a Lady Sloth brand whore. But after these experiences from buying with them, I feel more hesitant than ever to trust them with my cash. Now, I want to throw out there that I know that running an indie Lolita brand, it kind of sucks. It's very risky financially. Lolita is already a very niche community, and that line where you can sustainably make profit with your items in a Lolita brand, it's a very difficult line to reach. Even for big brands in Japan, year after year, we lose brands. They have to close up shop because it's no longer financially viable for them, or it's too stressful. In fact, very recently, the owner of the Angelic Forest, which is a US indie brand, has spoken in a Twitter post saying that they're planning on closing up the shop once they have filled out the rest of their orders. And while I don't blame them one bit, it's still really sad to see. But by the way, you should go buy from them. Go buy from the Angelic Forest. They're also really quite size inclusive, and they have really cute prints. I'm really sad that I never got the opportunities to buy Unicorn Seance from them. But please go do support them while they're still open. Just saying, just throwing that out there. But even knowing that, even knowing that, it's really difficult to run an indie Lolita brand, that doesn't change the fact that it's a business and customer relationship. And when customers are unhappy, when they're seeing problems that are forming, it breaks the trust. It makes people hesitant to ever buy from a place again. I really sincerely wish that I had a better picture of what Lady Sloth was like internally, like how many people work there, what everyone's positions are, how well the numbers are in reality. And in fact, I tried to contact them about this. I told them in advance about this video a couple months ago and messaged them about it multiple times through email, through Instagram, just to see if they would be interested. And they did not respond both times. They left me on red. So that's unfortunate that we don't really know what actually goes on with them. But all that aside, all of the factors aside to maybe why they may not be doing so well, at the end of the day, we're trusting our money to them. And we want that trust, to be well earned, well placed. We work hard to have our paychecks. We put in the work, and we want to spend that money on something that'll make us feel happy, not stressed. We don't want to be stressed about where our items are. All I can say about this overall is that the best case scenario that I can hope from this video is that this spreads, that more people see it, they get more personally informed about, whether or not they want to buy from Lady Sloth. And more importantly, I hope that Lady Sloth, if you're watching this, I hope you can see these reviews and take them to heart. I hope you will consider them sincerely, because I and many other people love your work, and we want to see you stay, and we want to see you succeed. But we want to be able to see you succeed, earnestly. We want to see you be the best Lolita brand that Europe can freaking offer. We want to be proud of you. And it's difficult to do that when we're not sure if we even want to buy, when we're not going to be sure where our products are going to be, when we're not even sure if you're going to answer when we try to communicate with you. We really love you. Please consider this, and we want to see you do better. If these things improve, if at least even the communication aspect for me personally improves, then I'm definitely gonna buy again. But for now, only time will really tell. Thank you again, everyone, for watching. As usual, I'd like to thank my top tier supporters on Patreon: Amelia Peterson, Labelle Lumley, Linkyu, and Mary Magdal. This has been Monty, your kawaii boy, and remember, every day is a great day to uplift yourself and others. Thank you. Oh, psych, there's actually one more thing. Hey guys, editing Monty here. So I decided to take a selfie after I finished filming, and it wasn't until after I took the photo that I realized that there was something up with the princess seams on my Dark Dolomos gallery dress. Strangely, it looks for the most part fine in person, but on camera it just looks like a really obvious white streak, and I'm sad about that now. Yeah, that's all.